Hi friends, and welcome to my home kitchen. Kestrel Hawkins here. Today I'm going to do something I didn't think I was going to do this early in the channel, but I've decided to because a lot of people have requested this, and honestly it's why I got into doing this channel in the first place. I wanted to teach people how to make things that are gluten-free and actually taste good. So I'm going to start with one of my very easy bread recipes, and this one is it's just a very quick process as far as getting everything mixed up. The longest thing that you're going to be doing is passive, and it's just going to be the rise. Before I get going too far, I just want to mention that I really appreciate all of you who have been commenting. It really helps the channel grow, and I would like to see more of that. So if you could, in the comments, tell me where you're watching me from, say hi, and yeah, just if you have anything interesting you want to say about yourself, go ahead and do it. I read all the comments, so I love that. So yeah, help me grow. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, you know, all those things are free. I haven't started a Patreon yet, so it's all free. Anyway, so let's get on to the bread recipe. In this bowl, what I have is 2 cups of my all-purpose gluten-free flour blend, and I will also leave a detailed recipe for that in the description. And I have a tablespoon of instant yeast. I have a tablespoon of sugar and then a teaspoon of salt. And really that's all there is to this. I put this purposely in this bowl this time because I am famous for starting with the wet ingredients and then needing another whisk. You don't need 2 whisks if you do it this way, people. So I'm just going to go ahead and get going on this. So that's mixed. This is the really crucial part here. In this container, I have 2.5 cups of warm water. You do not want anything above 115 degrees because it will unalive the yeast, and you don't want that. You want lively, beautiful yeast. In here, I have 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder. You can use whole psyllium husk, you would just need to use about twice as much. So 2 tablespoons here. So I am going to go ahead and very quickly just pour everything in, and then I'm going to very vigorously whisk this because, as you'll see, this sets up very, very quickly. And when it does, you'll end up with lumps if you don't have them worked out. See, look at that, it's already thickening. And that is what we want to see. It happens very fast. Set that aside. And I'm going to let this rest for just like a minute. And then I will go ahead and pour it into. You want to let it set up a tiny bit because if you pour it in when it's too wet, then not enough liquid is going to be absorbed by the psyllium, and it will cause a very sticky dough. So we want this to set up just a tiny bit. And it happens, like I said, it happens like within a minute. So I'm going to grab a rubber spatula real quick. And so, yeah, I mean, you'll see, it just kind of slides out. It looks a little like applesauce. And yeah, I mean, it kind of looks a little like a cross between applesauce and rubber cement. But that's okay, because it's not what the bread is going to look like. And here, I've never actually measured this oil, but I just kind of do 12 or 8 passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with my oil. And just kind of along the side there. And then I'm just going to go in. I would venture to say it's probably 2.5 tablespoons of oil. But it always works out really nicely. And I'm just going to go in with my bread whisk and get this going. And you want this to be folded in well enough that when you turn it out, it's mostly incorporated. So we are just going to kind of vigorously move this with our bread whisk. Yeah, I was trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before I did this recipe. But honestly, I mean, this is why I got into this, because a lot of people have said, oh, I have to buy it at the store because I don't understand how to make it taste good and do what it needs to do. So now I'm going to turn this out. I'm going to turn this mother out. Don't turn pull this mother out. Okay, so now I am just going to get in there with my hands and knead it for a little while. And you want to make sure that the hydration on this is really balanced. You don't want it to be too wet, but you also don't want it to be too dry, because if it's too wet, you're going to end up with kind of a flying crust issue, and that's not something you want. If it's too dry, it won't rise. So, and if you've never seen a flying crust, what that looks like, you'll have like a loaf of bread that you take out of the oven. It looks beautiful. Like, it's got a very nice dome on the top and a beautiful shape. And as it cools, you'll notice that it kind of caves in. And when you cut into it, there's like dense bread on the bottom, huge air bubble on top, and a crust. And yeah, it's not good. It ain't no good, Dad. And so yeah, this is just kind of fun to play with. And eventually it will
come together
and be, you know, right now it looks floopy. It'll come together and be unfloopy. So
come together right now.
Oh, my bread. But yeah, it just takes a little while. And don't be tempted to add flour to this yet. Give it like, I don't know, a minute or two of doing this, because it's very easy to over add, and you don't really want to do that. But yeah, it will be like this for a few minutes, and that's okay. And there are all these recipes I've seen for gluten-free bread where they say, oh, you don't have to do a bunch of kneading. Be so for real right now, you do.
For freaking real.
Mm-hmm. You can see, look at this, it's already stretching.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been able to do a window pane test on it?
I have.
Wow.
On this particular bread, I probably won't do that because, yeah, we're not... It really just kind of depends on the type of bread you're making. I mean, you can do it on this. I think I'm going to plop this back in here and just grab the rest of the flour that's on the sides, because I don't like waste, and this can take it. There we go, that's better. All right. Yeah, see, now it's really changing.
Mm-hmm. It's starting to get a little less sticky.
Yeah, it will. Like, you just kind of have to keep doing this, like, you know, getting it off your hands, but it's part of the fun, right? You can do this in a stand mixer, but I think this is way more fun. This will help really get it off your hands too. If you have one of these bowl scrapers, you can get them for like, I don't know, $5 pretty much anywhere that kitchen stuff is sold, and I've had this one for probably a decade, and it's good for scraping all sorts of stuff. I use it for the bench, I use it for the bowls, I use it for my hands, which are very clean, by the way. Well, aside from, you know, the dough. And if I feel like I do need a little more flour, I'm going to add some. And I do feel like this actually does need a little bit more flour. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to grab, you know, just a little bit. Set a little aside. Little bench flour. And if I don't need all of it, then that's okay too. Yeah, this already feels better. But the thing with baking bread is that I feel like it can be really different every time, because it depends a lot on your environment and whether or not, look at this, look at how beautiful. Yeah. Whether or not there's a lot of humidity in the air, whether or not it's, you know, it's drier, that all matters. And so unless you live in a laboratory, replicating what you did last time is going to be difficult. And so you just kind of have to go by feel. And I am going to stop here because that feels really good. And
nice and supple.
I don't want to add more flour to it because if I do, it's going to be too stiff and I don't want that.
A little sticky.
So I'm going to leave this like this for about an hour and I'll show you what I do from there. So I'm back. Yesterday I had something come up and I had to whack this in the fridge. So now I'm degassing it after it has come out of the fridge and has sat on the counter for about an hour. And the reason that, or one of the things that's really great about this dough is that you can do that with it. So I'm just shaping it now into the pan that I'm going to bake it in. And I'm going to allow this to sit for another probably half an hour to 45 minutes, just so that it can have another rise. And then I will bake it at 350 degrees. But that's the great thing about bread is that if you don't necessarily have time to do the whole process in one day, you can refrigerate your dough for like up to 3 days. And the flavor will just get better too, which is kind of nice about it. Like it just kind of develops flavor and is really good. So we are going to allow this to just kind of rest on the counter for it's a little cool today, so I'm going to say 30 to 45 minutes. I'm going to come check it at 30 minutes. And if it's ready to go, then I will put it in the oven and we will come back when that's that time. All right. Yippee. All right, so this looks like it's risen pretty nicely. It's been about half an hour. If you have a lom, great for you. I don't. I'm using a really sharp knife and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to give it a good slash down the middle. And this is going to help it to continue to have good oven spring. So I'm going to put this in the oven and it's going to bake for about an hour probably, maybe a little bit more. It's a pretty good size loaf of bread and it's baking at a moderate temperature, 350. So about an hour probably, and we'll be back. All right, we're back. This actually baked for 90 minutes, but I have a slow oven. So the chances of... There we go. This is a little bit stuck, but not too bad. Just want to release it. There we go. There. Lovely, lovely.
Beautiful bake.
Yeah. And the chances of, what was I going to say? Hear that? Mm-hmm. It sounds kind of hollow.
Put your mic up to it.
Yeah. So when it's got that good hollow sound, that's one way to tell it's done. I also took its temperature. It needs to reach 210 degrees. And yeah, that's pretty typical. With gluten-free bread in particular, though, you definitely want to bake it kind of longer than you would a normal loaf of bread because there's just more moist ingredients in it that take longer to dry out. And so we're going to allow this to cool for about 3 hours before we can cut into it. And you want to do that so that you don't end up with like, it gets a little gummy and squishy if you try and cut it before that. So just give it some time to cool off and we will be back. Okay, so this actually baked for 90 minutes, but like I said, I have kind of a slow oven, so I think that's why. So let's cut into this. I let it cool for about 3 hours.
There's definitely no flying crust.
And I don't think we have a flying crust, which is always a good thing.
Yay!
There we go.
Yippee!
It's a little more dense than I would like, but it was also not necessarily as moist as I could have made it. So, yeah. But let's just give it a try. Gotta make sure it's good, you know. Very tasty bread. Yeah, so this is great for sandwiches. It's good for toast, French toast, a bunch of different things that you would make bread.
Ooh,
you could
French toast with that would be
Yeah, French toast would be good with this. You could do bread pudding. There's all sorts of things you could do with this loaf of bread. Anyway, hope you have a fabulous week. And that you like, share, subscribe, comment. That really does help the channel. And be excellent to each other, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Let's let that out.
We're not doing that.
I need it.
I need you, Brad. I need you. Yes. Give me some good blooper fodder. I hope that you have a
fantastic day.
Sorry.